What is up, everybody? My name is David Franco, and I am officially back from our Memorial Day weekend vacation over at Driftwood 2 Campground in Cape May, New Jersey, if you guys are curious. And I say all that for a reason, because one of my biggest focuses last weekend was to get a ton of B-roll and experience with my newest product review. And well, that's for the TurboAnt M10 Pro electric scooter. This is my first time ever that I've reviewed an electric scooter, and actually, to be perfectly honest with you, it's my first electric scooter ever. I've had a hoverboard and I absolutely loved this thing, but let's be realistic. The whole hoverboard craze has come and gone. Yeah, I still see them now and then, but realistically speaking, riding an electric scooter is just more plausible. It's more realistic, not to overuse the word realistic, but guys, I'm just gonna say this real quick. I mean, if I want to save you some time, I love this scooter. Like, I seriously love this scooter so much. I'm gonna link it up below, but of course, if you do want to stay for all the details, please do so. Here we go. All right, so first of all, shout out to TurboAnt for sending me my first ever electric scooter. I made it clear, I'll say it one more time, I have been loving this scooter. It's not perfect, but damn, let me tell you this, it's a lot of fun to use, and it actually gets me outside. God forbid, right? All right, so starting out with some basic specs, according to TurboAnt's official website, we have a maximum load of 220 pounds, which I don't think is bad, and it also has a ground clearance of 3.15 inches. As far as I'm concerned, I think I only bottomed out twice, and well, both of those times were on speed bumps, so that's my fault. I will own that. But thankfully, the scooter's not damaged at all. It's completely protecting the battery and all the wires and all that stuff. Okay, so the net weight of the M10 Pro is 36.37 pounds with an aluminum alloy frame. So in other words, this is not a toy. This is not some cheap toy that you're going to buy at Target or Walmart. This is a legitimate electric scooter, and you will know that the second you unbox it, because let me tell you, this thing is heavy, but at the same time, it's not too heavy to easily transport, because, well, you can easily fold it and shove it into a truck, shove it into storage. It's great. I love it. Okay, so continuing on with the specs, we have a waterproof resistance of IP54, which means, in other words, it is splash resistant. And let me tell you this, I went through numerous puddles while away at Driftwood 2, and I never once had an issue. It just kept working. That's a good thing, right? And now let's talk battery. This thing has a 10.4 amp hour battery with a charging time of 6 hours, which isn't bad, because let me tell you this, once it's done charging, you get an average of 30 miles of range. 30 miles! That's a long distance. Okay, so with that said, I cannot confirm nor deny this, because unfortunately there is no built-in odometer. Shout out to my dad, he's the one who came up with this idea. Having an odometer on the built-in display would have actually been really, really cool. But yeah, there's no odometer, but guys, I'll tell you this, it's not a big deal because I got plenty of range on this thing. So let's talk about the overall speed and performance of the TurboAnt M10 Pro. First of all, it's a lot of fun to ride. I think I've made that clear, and you know what, I'm probably gonna say it one or two more times. I love riding this scooter. It was definitely one of my favorite highlights of my weekend away. Okay, so TurboAnt officially states that you should be able to reach a maximum speed of 20 miles per hour. And I'll tell you this right now, I had no problem, improving that theory, because it's true, it's a fact. I reached 20 miles per hour multiple times, and actually, I'll tell you this as well, several times I reached 21. So my next goal is to reach 22 miles per hour. Now, of course, this is easily done by finding a small hill that you can just kind of glide down. But generally speaking, even on a flat surface, you should be able to reach 20 miles per hour, no problem. Okay, so let's talk about the overall riding experience. Is it comfortable? Yes, I never once had an issue in this category. You've got plenty of leg space. You've got a 20-inch wide handlebar positioning, rubberized handles for easy handling, and you do have an easy throttle. So yes, to accelerate, you literally just push down on the throttle and you're good to go. But one important thing to keep in mind is that the M10 Pro will not move. It will not accelerate with the throttle unless the scooter first moves a little bit. So for me, I call this the kickstart. I doubt that's the proper terminology, but that's what I like to call it. I just hop on the scooter, kick, I go like 1 or 2 miles per hour, throttle, and immediately just wants to take off. I love it. All right, so let's talk about turning real briefly. I am not a regular electric scooter rider. By that, I mean regular in the sense that I ride them every single day. But this is my first electric scooter that I've ever owned myself. And I'll tell you this, the first 2 or 3 minutes, it was a little weird for me because I'm not used to that. I'm used to riding a bike. But you quickly get used to it. And if I have one tip for you, when it comes to turning, make sure you lean into your turn instead of physically trying to turn the handlebars. Now let's talk about braking. The braking system is phenomenal. We have a dual braking system here, guys. We've got disc brakes and electronic brakes. And I'll tell you this, I never once had a problem stopping on a moment's notice, which is important. You know, I mean, sometimes you have those unwanted obstacles. And while the brake system never once failed me. And best of all, have I mentioned this? It's fun to use. Like, it really is fun to use. You just feel like you're standing out from the crowd because, let's be honest, most people are into bikes. So in other words, you don't see as many electric scooters as you do bikes, at least around here. So it is kind of nice being that different kind of commuter. Not that I use this thing to commute to work because, well, I work from home, but it is really fun taking this thing on the open road, safely of course, and just kind of showing off in a way. Okay, so for the next part of my review, I just want to go over some interesting tidbits that I discovered over the weekend while using the TurboAnt M10 Pro. First of all, the anti-glare display actually looks really nice. It's easy to see at night. It's fairly easy to see in bright sunlight. I just was not disappointed by it, especially when I discovered that the battery life was right in front of me. Now, unfortunately, you don't get a percentage. You don't get an exact, or estimated mileage, I should say. However, if you look at the display, you'll notice these curved lines. The more curved lines you have, the more battery life you have. And if it gets to the inner line and it turns red, well, that means it's time to charge. But don't forget, it takes 6 hours to charge, and in theory, you should get about 30 miles of a maximum range. That's a long distance for an electric scooter of this range. Price range, I should say. More on that in a bit. Next up, let's talk about speed modes. This I really enjoyed. We have 2 speed modes. Speed mode 1 is more of a let's chill and vibe kind of mode where you go a maximum of 12 miles per hour. Now speed mode 2, that's what I prefer. It's exactly what it sounds like. It's just faster and better. And while that's how you get up to that 20 miles per hour max speed. Cruise control. This is something I did not expect to really enjoy. So basically, if you hold down on the throttle consistently, I'm not sure of the exact time, but based on my testing, it seems like if you go a certain speed for say like 4 or 5 seconds, maybe even 10 seconds straight, the scooter just assumes you want to enter cruise control mode, and it does just that. It acts just like a car. Now, it's not going to turn for you automatically, of course, but let's say you're going 15 miles per hour on a sidewalk or on the side of a street, and you go 15 consistently for a little while, you're going to hear a little beep. Well, that means it enters cruise control mode, and, well, you don't have to do anything else. You're just chilling, going consistently 15 miles per hour. However, if you want to exit cruise control, either tap the throttle yourself or simply brake on the left. All right, so let's talk about the adjustable headlight. This was a very nice touch, especially when riding at night. I think it was Sunday night at Driftwood. It was dark and it was really, really hazy out. So in other words, visibility was not all that great, especially for oncoming cars. And well, the last thing I want is to be hit head on with a car, right? I mean, obviously that's never fun. But thankfully the light just makes me known. Other people can see me no problem. And well, more importantly, maybe I can see the path myself. However, TurboAnt, I do have one small request. This isn't a big deal, but this would be really cool. Is if you had an automatic on feature for the headlight. So let's say you're scootering at night or scooting. I don't know what the term is there. It would be cool if the light automatically turned on based on the ambient light. Just saying, that would have been really nice. Another interesting tidbit I picked up on is the flashing brake lights only activate if you have the front headlight on because, well, in theory, the scooter automatically assumes you're using this at night. So as long as the headlight is on, this means your brake lights will not only turn on, but they'll also flash. That way the person behind you is alerted that someone is in front of them. In this case, you. And finally, last but not least, we have a USB-A charging port. I know it's not USB-C, but honestly, not a big deal because I never really found myself using this. But if you ever catch yourself in a pinch, well, I mean, just think of your M10 Pro as a mobile battery pack. I mean, it really is that. It's just a giant battery on wheels, and yeah, you can charge your iPhone or your Android phone or anything that supports USB-A. And guys, honestly, I thought that was a really cool touch. It's not needed, but definitely a nice extra. And finally, to wrap up my very positive review of the TurboAnt M10 Pro, let's talk price. As of today, you can get it for just under $400, which honestly, I don't think that's bad at all. That's a great price, especially considering we are at the time of the year where we just want to get outside, right? I mean, yeah, I love being in front of my video games and my TV and all that stuff, but it's good to get outside. It's healthy. Get that vitamin D, get out in the sun, and have some fun with the scooter. I guarantee you, you will not be disappointed. I love mine, and honestly guys, it's my favorite product that I've received in a long time. And well, I'm just gonna wrap up my review with these simple words. I can't imagine going to Driftwood 2 in the future without taking my TurboAnt M10 Pro. That's how much I love it. And finally, one more shout out to TurboAnt for sponsoring me for this review. I appreciate you guys. And hey, I'm just saying, if you want to keep working together, let me know. It'd be really nice to get my hands on future scooters. But hey, in the meantime, I'm loving the M10 Pro. Just buy yourself one today. Treat yourself. And of course, if you have any questions about anything I talked about today, just let me know in the comment section right below, and I'll do my best to get back to you. Thanks so much, and I'll talk to you soon.